Is that better? Hi. Welcome to 420 Live. I'm your host. And I can't breathe in this thing. My wife Julianne made me this for my birthday. And now everybody knows I'm a total freak every time I go shopping. So thank you, honey, for making sure I'm safe. I don't know if it's going to save my life, but I'll definitely work out the lungs trying to breathe through this thing. It's going to keep out all the bad juju. Hi, everybody. I'm Jeff Kravitz. Welcome to 420 Live. I am your host. Today is Monday. It's a beautiful day. It's May. Hold on. I got to look. 11th. And I am just recovering from this amazing birthday weekend that I had and Mother's Day weekend. And I have so many friends that are Tauruses, so many people celebrating right now. And it's interesting to have a birthday during a pandemic. It's the new norm now, is a nice Zoom party. I did the Zoom party and a lot of my friends all stopped in to say hi and Zoom with me. And it was fun. And we did a historical rundown through all the amazing music that I've experienced in my life. And it was something else. I found videos. I told a lot of people. I told you guys about it on Saturday. If you tuned in, I did a special birthday show on Saturday. Hold on, I'm just rearranging my power here, making sure everything's working. But yeah, pandemic birthdays, it's a different thing. But the one thing is that it's very inclusive because you have people checking in from all over the world that are coming in to say hi and send their greetings. Like I know people from all over the world. I'm just making it sound a lot better than it was. It was me and 3 friends sitting around playing a virtual trivia, but we had a lot of fun. Anyway, we're on. I have to share this video. My friend Jeff Ross was doing this roast this weekend, and he roasted me on my birthday. So I want you guys to just check this out. Let's see. This is the first time I've spun a video on here. I'm going to see if I can do it without screwing it up.
Hey, Jeffrey Ross.
Happy birthday, buddy.
How you doing? Thank you very much.
Well, birthday Rose.
If you guys don't know Jeff Kravitz, he's one of the top concert photographers in the world and an all-around good guy. And he kind of looks like a potato. He's quarantining with some hostages right now. And
Here, I have some big ones for you.
oh my God. Holy shit. I'm not even gay. I'd fuck this guy.
It's crazy because you look like you belong in a cafe in West Hollywood.
Oh, I wish I was there right now.
This is Zach. This is my son. Can you believe it?
This is your son?
Yeah.
Dude, let me just tell you something. If he hasn't told you yet, you're adopted.
I know.
You look like a Lannister, and he looks like he's protecting the wall.
You look like Hodor.
Yeah, Hodor. All right, well, good luck, Val Kilmer Jr. Good one, Kai. Kravitz, happy birthday. Love you, bud. Oh, my God.
I mean, come on. That was like the best present. Just we were sitting around in the garage with the kids kicking it, and Jeff, we tuned in the past couple of weeks, and I tuned in. I gave him a wave, and he's like, I'm pulling Kravitz in for this. And he pulled us in. It was it's so funny. And Zach, a couple of weeks back, is like, if I ever get a chance to roast Jeff Ross, I got some lines for him. And, of course, when I pulled him in, they all go out the window, So it was a very fun birthday. You make the best of it. That's what it's all about during these times, is making the best of it. And that's one of the reasons we're here. And one of the reasons I come to you is because I'm making lemonade out of lemons here, folks. We're trying to make the best of this time together. What's happening on television? This whole thing is like a bad Stephen King movie. It's like you can't even watch. It's so disgusting. It's so slimy. It gives me the heebie-jeebies. And we can't trust our leadership. So don't trust anybody. Don't be going out protesting or going out to a breakfast restaurant. If you haven't figured out how to make good eggs by now, I'm ashamed of you. And if you haven't figured out how to make a good cup of coffee and you got to run out to Starbucks, I'm doubly ashamed of you. It's been 8 weeks. You should have figured out the bare minimum, how to make a good cup of joe and how to make to be able to take care of yourself. So take care of yourselves out there, but we're not here to dwell on disasters. We're here to distract from them. And every day for the past, we're in my 55th show right now since the pandemic started, I believe. And I've come to you and brought you incredibly amazing guests from all over the world, different walks of my life. And when I moved to Los Angeles in the 80s, and I got a job at Paramount Pictures, and I would ride around a lot on my little bicycle, and I'd pick up time cards. And it was through the Letts family. Earl Letts went to Atlantic City High School, and my mom knew a guy or knew a girl. And then I got the phone call, go talk to this guy. And I talked to this guy, and I got a job. And it was in the payroll department. And, my old friend, Sean Alquist, who I grew up with from the time I was 11 years old. Sean, his dad, Russ Alquist, worked down the beach, right down this beach from my house. Russ ended up training me to be a lifeguard when I was a kid. And Sean and I were friends when we were 11, and he was like the mascot. And he had this crazy life. He lived in California, and he'd come back, and his mom was this TV star, and she'd come down and sit on the beach, and we'd see her sitting there with her hat on, her glasses. We'd all want to run up and bug her because we were all watching Nanny and the Professor when we were kids. I mean, that was standard watching on, weekly watching at our house. So we loved Juliette Mills and the Mills family and her sister Haley. And it was kind of a thing to be on a beach in New Jersey, in this little dinky little Jersey seaside town, to see an amazingly beautiful woman sitting there with her hat on. And I moved to LA. Sean and I connected. And the way we connected was interesting. He was just graduating San Diego. And I found out that his stepdad, who was Maxwell Caufield, was working on a show at the Paramount lot called The Colbys. And I went by his trailer once. He wasn't there. Went by another time, and I knocked on the door, and there's blasting music. And the door opens up, and there's Max. And I'm like, hi, I'm Jeff Kravitz. I'm a friend of Sean's. And I was wondering if you could give him my number, because I was looking for a roommate at that time. And Sean ended up moving up to LA. We became roommates, and long sordid history where he turns me on to the Grateful Dead. I got even by turning him on to Fish. And Alquist and I played guitar together and been friends for 40 some odd years now, which is kind of crazy. And I was accepted into his family, his mom, Juliette, Maxwell. I was part of their family here. I spent holidays with them, had a blast. I want to introduce you to Maxwell Caufield. Hello, Max.
Yeah, nice intro. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Here's my, you too, good friend. Look. Melissa, who you've been referencing, she made this. It's very chic, don't you think?
Beautiful. She's got some nice skills.
Julianne did a lovely job, but for some reason, the way you wear it, it looks like almost like a pair of like jockey Y-fronts. I think it's that a little designer band across the top. But you know what, my friend? The Arabs are having the last laugh because now we're all wearing those masks.
No.
Everybody's feeling themselves. I don't know how long is this going on for, Jeff. It's kind of spooky, and you don't know what the rules are. I don't think anybody quite knows going forward into the summer. It's a little sketchy.
I think that's the most disturbing part is that there's no guidance.
I know. I didn't even know that. Well, I knew the state. I knew Newsom, Governor Newsom of California, had the good sense to, declare a state-wide emergency. It was one of the first out of the gate. And at that point, we had a $22 billion surplus. I now hear we're going to have a $56 billion deficit when this is all said and done, which is pretty alarming. But I don't want to obviously dwell too much on politics. But the reality of it is that we are still in this state under a lockdown till the end of the month, which is is not a. I know people are losing their minds and everybody's lost their jobs, but they're already banging the drums about, the second wave. And being a crack lifeguard, you all know about that rogue wave that can come in and just sweep the beach.
Yeah, but like you say, I think the whole problem is that there's no direction. There's a total vacuum in leadership. It's a theme on this show. I mention it all the time. The vacuum in leadership is astounding. You have somebody you can turn to and trust in times like these. They're experts. But now I love the way he didn't have to fire Fauci, but now he's under quarantine, which is 2 weeks away. He might as well be fired.
Listen, I mean, somebody, I heard him described on the radio over the weekend as a human fog machine. And it's true. I mean, he does have this, Mr. Unmentionable has an ability to, as you know, he thrives on discord, and he will, over the next several months, be stoking all the divisions that he can within this country, because he will play whatever card he needs to hold on to power. Because at the end of the day, that is job one, as far as he's concerned. Not taking care of the American people, but ensuring he gets another 4 years as kingpin so he can torment us all. But Juliet, for the first time in the last couple of weeks, my wife, obviously, who you referred to in such loving terms, Mother's Day yesterday, we were festooning her, of course. She felt for the first time there is actually a glimmer of hope that we can turn this boat around before we go over the falls. And I hope to God it's the case, Jeff, because, divide and conquer, it's an old strategy. And
the new strategy is be a con artist and distract everybody. And, Maxwell's very active on Twitter. We are on the same political wavelength. I see your posts. I agree. It's a shim sham, but not why we're here. But I love the fact that we're all on the same page, and we got to do what we can to galvanize the troops and vote that guy out. No. That's our prerogative.
Yeah, we all have to pull together. I mean, the Bernie Bros have to come on board, right? But that aside, the coalition that has to be formed, because otherwise, the culture wars in this country are colliding with a global pandemic, which normally would call for leadership from the number one country in the West. And instead, we're positioning ourselves for an East-West showdown in the years to come. And there's never been a more important time for the world to unite. And at the same time, we're doing the exact opposite. We're all bringing down the barriers. I understand the necessity of that on a part-time basis, an interim. But it is very scary, Jeff. And as I said, is that you go through these waves of feeling, okay, we're going to get through this, and then you suddenly go, holy crud! This could be the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
My brother, who's very much into sort of far out theories, he, understandably is very concerned about, civil liberties and what we're going to have to relinquish over this tracing and tracking business. I mean, is it going to come to that, or is there going to be, is that little magic llama from Belgium going to ride up to the rescue? You've heard about little winter.
I don't know if you saw the report. The New York Times had a report about 6 or 7 months ago. They were able to track every phone of everyone in Trump's circle, in essence, tracking the president by tracking their phones through stuff that is shareable in the world that people can access. And they showed you how they track everybody. So we're already trackable and traceable. We're already checking in everywhere we go and showing people what we eat. I mean, we're pretty much idiots when it comes to that. We're giving all up. Nobody's protecting themselves,
Thank goodness our cameras are filming us when we don't even know it. As soon as you flip the damn thing open, you're sort of on the World Wide Web. I hate to think what's been seen. But did you catch Alec Baldwin on Saturday Night Live this week?
Of course.
Of course. It was maybe one of his best turns, giving the graduation speech. I thought that was hilarious. He's such a maestro. He's so outspoken. He's really an extraordinarily, funny guy. But I mean, it takes him and guys like De Niro. They really got to have balls to stand up there and really call us, a spade, and just not be afraid of the fallout, because but anyway, I won't bang on too much about him. But there was also in that broadcast on Saturday, there was a montage involving the series regulars, all those wonderful young comedic actors and actresses, and it showed them, and you'll relate to this as somebody who's always piling into big crowds and standing head and shoulders above everybody to get the killer shot. But, that kind of proximity, I mean, Juliet said to me, it was a montage of them and then their sense of New York, and it just suddenly made you go, wow, when is it ever going to be like that again? You know, and even thinking years from now, and it's so consequently, we're all feeling that there's not only a sense of nostalgia, but a sense of real, genuine heartache about, and also as a father of kids, a handful of young whelps there, you know, you've got to be concerned about where things are going for them. This is why the environmental devastation that's being wrought by this administration is so unacceptable. The you know, the courts, as you know, being stuck. Here we are talking. I'm bringing it back.
Listen, Max, I'm right. I am right there with you. I get it, and we are so screwed right now that there's nothing we can really do, and it's hard to focus on it. So because you don't know what to believe anymore, and I think that's the worst thing about it. I just don't know what the truth is. Half of me thinks every conspiracy theory might have a shredded truth into it, like when we used to read the National Enquirer back in the day, and there would always be some kind of shredded truth. Later, you'd be like, "Oh, right, I read that in the National Enquirer first."
I know, it's true. You know, there was always just enough of truth in it that they couldn't be sued.
You're originally from Derbyshire. You're a Derby lad, I know. And you politically, when did you start politically aligning with America over the monarchy and the prime ministers and stuff like that?
Okay. Well, you know, I fell in love with this country. I was blessed to be able to come here when I was 18. My stepfather was an American and an American citizen, so I exploited that to come over here, and I always, you know, like the rest of the world, we all just really appreciated American cool. You know, how the U.S. was perceived. I had American cousins who'd come over, and they were just so laid back, and they had great tans, and they were so athletic and easygoing, and yet they were also, you know, they acted like they owned the joint. And I was from a very prim and proper public school, and I just couldn't believe. And then actually, as one of I came over with the Boy Scouts when I was 14, a British troop, and obviously, and we did an exchange program, and I actually got to go to an American high school for several days, which was really eye-opening. I went to an all-boys school, and suddenly I was, with beautiful young girls, high school girls, junior high school girls, everybody wearing whatever they wanted. The history teacher came in, and because she had a German name, they all stood up and gave her the Nazi salute. I was like, I think you called it social studies. I was like, my God, anything goes in this country. And I just fell in love with it. And so I always feel very blessed to be able to have lived my whole adult life here. And that's the thing that troubles me most, is that America has lost its cool. You know, I mean, yeah, we got the NBA, and we've got, still got our amazing rock stars and so many and movie stars but the perception of what this country really represents. I know we've always had the military might, but and we've reluctantly been the world's policeman. But at the same time, somebody's got to try to uphold democracy, and I think that's the thing that bugs the shit out of us more than anything. Is this unraveling of every,
and also the lack of check and balances. But the UK government's a mess too. Boris Johnson's
yeah. I mean, he was almost like a sort of mini me, but and in fact, he gave a really Sunday to the nation that left everybody even more confused as to what the rules were. Yeah. So these guys like Tweedledum and Tweedledee, but one of them is on. I mean, my brother thinks that he's got a pretty evil agenda, but the agenda in being implemented in this country is just, I mean, it'll be like the Salem witch trials if this keeps going, with what Moscow Mitch is doing with the courts while this is all still going on.
Yeah,
and really,
250 judges.
Oh my God. But listen, man, music is my theory. Listen, you're
So,
a big.
there you go. So let's talk about a little bit about your fandom, because you're a British an Irish British rocker to the core, as far as you're a U2 fanatic.
Yep. The Who, U2. And obviously the last concert I saw, but not that I even realized it was going with your dear and good buddy Sean, Juliet's son, to see Fish down at that. Is it the Henry Fonda? What's that great? The Wiltern. It was just recently.
Trey. You went to see Trey.
Trey. It wasn't Fish. It was Trey. Yeah. That's right. I think one member of the band was playing with him that night, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Doesn't he usually?
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. There's 10 people on stage.
But the point being, Jeff, is that I think that a music event is going to be something that will pull us together. And I thought that I loved what Chris Martin did right there around Thanksgiving of last year, from that in Jordan, that live concert, and everybody just like, I just think it's going to take something of a miracle to shut this virus down. The scientists are telling us it's still a year and a half away. And those kind of global concerts, as you know, do wonderful things for an international harmony.
Of course.
Anything that can bring the world together right now, as opposed to us, fracturing apart and letting these, these dictators or wannabe dictators, jeepers. The guy down in Brazil takes the cake, old Bolsonaro there.
Yeah. There's one band. It seemed like when Trump came in, all the idiots came in. So you've seen Fish too. I know I dragged you to Vegas. We saw some Fish.
Yeah. Yes. What
did you make of that? What do you make of that whole hippie scene? I mean, Sean's was in the Grateful Dead for years, so you saw the Dead also back in the day, right?
Yes, I did. I was lucky enough to see them a couple of times, and it was always a total blast. A Rose Bowl one time, I think Ventura Fairgrounds another. No, listen, that kind of freewheeling spirit, man. I mean, it's where it's at. But I can't imagine how long it'll be before there is anything like an arena show again. People are going to be so apprehensive.
Did you see Dave Grohl's article today? There's a big article he wrote. I don't know if you saw it, but it's in the Atlantic today, and it talks about being a rock. You saw it or you didn't see it?
Not yet, but I was thinking it's a great periodical that, And
I just read a couple of the quotes out of it, and the things he talks about is true. Is that he's had the best seat in the house watching his fans through ice and snow and sun and heat, drunk and dancing and bored and air drumming, and he's had this amazing thing where he's had this and he's missing it too, because he's also a music fan. So it's just a really hard time for us all, and especially music fans, because we don't know which way we're gonna go next.
Yeah, no, there's nothing like the high you get from watching great musicians take you out of yourself,
But your job.
As an actor?
Yeah, well, your job as an actor is the same thing. You're either on a set and there's a lot of people on the set, or you're in a theater. You've been doing a lot of theater, and in the theater you have thousands of people sitting there, and
it's not. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Juliet and I toured last year in an Alfred Hitchcock adaptation of his show, The Lady Vanishes, and we were playing these beautiful old theaters, Victorian houses across the UK. And you just wonder how long it'll be before one can do that again. So my bread and butter is definitely up for discussion right now. I mean, I've signed on to Cameo. I don't know if you've heard of that, but you send personal greetings to people, and I can't believe what some people are charging. I try to charge a fair price to stop what I'm doing and be hopefully
Well, what's the highest price you've seen on there?
Well, let me see now. I was surprised. One of the guys from I suppose he's entitled to it, but one of the guys from the Lord of the Rings was charging like $250 a pop, and I'm like going, oh, come on, everybody's hurting right now. $250 for you to spend 30 seconds singing happy birthday, that's a bit rich. Well, some people are up to $1,000. I mean, if you want a sports superstar. But one was always amazed at how much concert tickets were costing to see the really best shows. So there's still money out there, but I think that everybody is very apprehensive about their prospects, and everyone better get used to working from home.
Well, people seem to be lining up. They opened up that diner in Colorado yesterday, and people couldn't wait to go have somebody make them their eggs. They're like elbowing everybody out of the way.
Coffee and the eggs, yeah. It just ain't worth dying over, man.
And let's face it, our waffle game at home, my omelet game is next level. I mean, I can't get an omelet as good as I'm making them now anywhere in town.
Oh, good. Well, you've got a big house to bounce around, but as you know, a lot of people aren't as fortunate, and they're really cooped up, and they're ready to sort of throttle each other. So I understand that human need to, obviously get out and interface and just be in charge of your life instead of being sort of dictated to. So, and that's very much the American spirit too. I mean, that is very much. I mean, the pioneering spirit, but. I don't know. It's calling for a tremendous amount of compliance at the moment, and
and especially as the weather gets nicer.
Yeah, that's
people
saying. Hopefully, to God, the heat will be. But this thing apparently just is. Mother Nature's on a bit of a tear right now.
Yeah. But there's definitely a revolution coming on, but it is a leveler for rock stars, for actors, for everybody. Is on the same level. We're all making our own meals at home. No one's catering anyone else. A lot of us had to leave our house cleaning staffs at home. So we don't, we're doing things like cleaning toilets and doing the dishes and, making all the meals. And it's a human experience that we're all sharing simultaneously. Like you say, some people are better off than others, but we're all having to deal with the same things. It's just like having something to eat, stay healthy, make it to the next day without getting sick, and that's what we're all on that.
And it's as it seems at this point, as you know, like in California, we've done pretty good. I mean, we haven't lost that many folks so far, and I mean, God rest those that did leave us early. But there've been a lot of controls in place, and at this point. And we kind of live here down in the LA area in a kind of almost a mini police state, but the cops are being very cool too so far. But people mustn't, take advantage of that because they're trying to be, benign and fair about it. But if they want to suddenly bring down the hammer, they can, and they will. And it's, as we all know, it's no fun running afoul of the law. And our Black brothers who are in these and sisters in these communities that are feeling it harder than any, I know they have a tricky relationship with law enforcement to begin with, but it is a time for community and a time for I'd hate to be Pollyanna-ish about it, but my sister-in-law is Haley Mills, so I feel almost entitled to invoke her. I was talking to my cousin today. It was funny. He lives up in Montana, and he said, well, they reckon they've been practicing social distancing up here since 1891. There's so few of them up there.
Right. Well, we're in the rural parts of America where people are spread apart. It's great. But if you're in New York City, you're even in downtown LA, and you're on top of each other, and you're sharing elevators and stuff, it becomes really kind of crazy. So, go ahead.
No. The entertainment industry is trying to figure out, obviously, how to go forward. I mean, I was reading it. Tyler Perry owns a military barracks outside of Atlanta, and his trick is going to be to get everybody tested before they get on a plane. As soon as they land, then they quarantine for a few days. He's figured out his script so people don't have to get too close to each other. He's, thinned his herd. He's got a smaller crew, and everybody's going to be like they're on location, sort of sequestered in his facility, which is very enterprising of him. I mean, your pal Tom Cruise is taking it a little further. He's going to go shoot his next project in space, apparently, with NASA's help. So he's got a way to shoot and not have to deal with folks. There's different ways. And then I was seeing that actors are going to apply their own makeup with a makeup artist right behind them, telling him what to do, so that, they're not right on top of you. So I don't know how, but we're going to work it out, because there's obviously entertainment is what's helped people get through this. And generally the show business has actually done pretty well in downturns, because people do need that escapism. We were watching a very funny show over the weekend from Ricky Gervais called Afterlife. Have you heard of that one on Netflix?
No, but I'll check it out.
It's funny. It's typical, as you could imagine. It's funny and it's dark and acerbic. But by the end, he had me in tears at the end of episode 6. And I think that the second series is just kicking off. So I must say, I'm going to try and muscle to the front of the pack to be one of the first to get a job once Screen Actors Guild.
Hollywood for you has really changed, because back in the day, you were living in Carpinteria. I remember that beautiful spread that you guys lived in Carp. Yeah. And you would have to go to Hollywood every time you had an audition. You'd have to get in the car and drive anywhere from an hour to 3 hours. And now you can just do it like this, right? Is that how you audition these days?
Yeah, well, actors have been self-taping now for a couple of years. You literally hold up your iPhone and act. And funnily enough, the only things I've ever booked doing it are for the stage, which almost doesn't make sense. But, really. But so we're all we're getting used to this virtual reality. I'm getting ready to, tack up a green screen behind here, because it may all be done by remote, as long as you can get enough sophisticated equipment, and hopefully it's not too expensive. You literally can just phone in your performance, and they're gonna. They say, we've been hearing about this for a while now, that if you've done enough performances, they've got enough footage of you that they don't even need to hire you anymore. They'll have to pay some kind of royalty, licensing. But like, for example, they're going to use James Dean in a movie about the Vietnam War. They're just going to somehow CGI him into a feature.
Well, that's what they did with Carrie Fisher in the new Star Wars, right? Because she had scenes that she hadn't shot for that film, and they used stand-ins and CGI, and
Is Harrison Ford still flying planes right now? Oh God! Get the crash helmet.
The last time I heard, he crashed on the golf course right over there in Ocean Park, and that was the last thing I heard about him flying.
I heard he was crossing up somebody on a runway a couple of weeks back. But listen, God love him. He's a hero of mine. He's always had just the right attitude about acting. He was late to it, right? He came to the profession late, and they say actually most people shouldn't think about becoming actors till they're 35 and have been around the block a bit.
Yeah, but you got ruined as a young man. You started when you were 11, right? Was that your first?
Well,
I did
a little turn in a movie. I wasn't a child actor, but I did a little turn because my mother was the secretary to the screenwriter. And they were pretty highfalutin people. Like Harold Pinter was the screenwriter, Joseph Losey, the American director. And this is when I was a kid in London. But I think maybe even then I got the bug. I think even then.
And then you got to the States, and you started at 17, 18 years old. You're already on Broadway.
I got lucky. Actors are always seeking the role, and I walked into a part to play some sort of juvenile delinquent Brit schoolboy, and so I had a field day with that. And one thing led to another, and I was doing another British play by Joe Orton called Entertaining Mr. Sloan, which is a wonderful, wonderful black comedy. And my character I was playing was somewhat bisexual, and he was, at the prime of his youth. And at one point, I think my trousers came off. But that aside, it became a bit of a cause célèbre in nothing to do with me flying around butt naked. Actually, I wore my shirt to a certain length so that the crown jewels went on show. But Brad Davis no less than Brad Davis took over from me when I got Grease 2. And Brad apparently had his shirt up around his armpits. I mean, he was.
So when doing my research, I remember you doing this role with Jessica Tandy, and you were naked almost the whole play.
Well, funny you should say that. Look, right behind me. I'm going to re-angle the camera. There we go. And get out of the way. That is Jessica Tandy. I'm going to walk you. If you can see it now, you sort of actually better.
Your signal's so much better.
Jessica Tandy, my camera operator. She's over my head now in a deck chair, and that play,
yes,
place on a beach. And when the curtain went up, it was nothing but sand. I mean, when the audience went in the auditorium, there was a blue cyc and beach and nothing. And so they went, "Whoa, this is an interesting atmosphere." The lights went down, and when they came back up again, Jessica Tandy and another wonderful veteran actress called Elizabeth Wilson were dragging on deck chairs and setting them up like two, crazy old English biddies. My character had come out in that very quick blackout and just went face down into the sand, butt naked, because I was like a sort of a beach bum, most of the audience didn't even realize I was there because I was the same color as the sand until about 15 minutes into the show. But the people right down near the front were already looking and whispering and talking, and I began to recognize their faces, by the way, by the end of the run. But David Strathairn, unbeknownst the actor, the wonderful actor David Strathairn, he'd been buried by stage management before they even opened the house in a military costume. Coming out of the sand so he could breathe, so he could make one of the great entrances, really, in theater. He just suddenly emerged at a pivotal moment, ahead of me, actually, before I finally stirred. He came out of the sand, and all the audience was gasped. And very shortly after he did that, I got up and changed positions to get a better angle on my tan. And most of the audience went, "Oh my God, I missed it. He just got up, the new guy. I missed it." But so it was a very fun memory. And actually, it led to me getting the Colbys, because the producer was out front. And, it's all being in the right place at the right time.
Max,
luck is a big part of this thing.
Try moving your laptop a little bit, because you're a little bit lagged, but it was I saw it dial in a little bit as you moved it a little bit closer. Try moving it that way a little bit. Maybe we could dial this in.
I'm still trying to.
When you went to the picture of Jessica Tandy, it dialed in. So maybe slide it back towards you or something.
Okay. Is that better?
I don't know. Let's see. Because everybody here is going crazy. So
I'm sorry if I've made everybody see. By the way,
that's better. That's
father-in-law.
No,
on
that's
this side. That's Sir John
better.
Mills. And Andrew Lloyd Webber every weekend has been broadcasting free on Facebook his shows, great shows. Phantom, a real rocked out version of Jesus Christ Superstar, his 50th birthday tribute with at the Albert Hall with some amazing performances. But this weekend he's showing Cats from 1998 with my illustrious father-in-law, Sir John Mills, who you knew, of course. And Johnny is playing Gus, the theatrical cat. And when they shot it, is a fun story. They went to apply some makeup to him. He got in front of the camera, his cat makeup. And they said to him, "You don't look old enough." They had to, because he was playing an old theatrical cat. They literally took John Mills back, and at about the age of, my God, he must have been about 88 at the time, and said, "Age him up."
Age him up.
Oh, well done. Oh, well done, Jeff. That's great. There's Sean, his granddad, Johnny, and obviously my beautiful wife, Sean's mom, and me. wearing a shirt, no doubt, supplied by me.
What was it like? I mean, you're an aspiring actor,
Sean
and now all
looks
of a
great,
sudden
too.
now all of a sudden you're in royalty, acting royalty. Oscar winner John Mills, his best friends, Laurence Olivier, the legends.
Yeah. I tell you, when I did get cast in the Colbys as Charlton Heston's son, Barbara Stanwyck as my aunt, Catherine Ross as my also my other aunt, I guess. I did feel validated. I felt, there I was in a show. They called it a Dynasty in England, or my mother called it dysentery. But Dynasty, I felt somehow, I was in a dynasty, a real life dynasty, and I felt, as I said, I didn't have to prove anything to Sir John or Lady Mary, and I'm just my mind. I've got so many things to talk to you about. I mean, suddenly I'm thinking of Juliet's mom, Mary Haley Bell. She wrote the book Whistle Down the Wind that became a great movie starring John and Haley, but also Lloyd Webber. Again, I hope he shows this as part of his stay-at-home show. There's Melissa's wedding. There he is.
Yeah,
again, this is Sir John.
Look at the other side right there.
Yeah, you took some great shots at that wedding. That's lovely. That's Hale and Juliet and obviously me with my great. Listen, we lost some great people over the weekend, huh? Little Richard and Roy Horn, and then they always go in threes. We lost Jerry Stiller this morning, right? Talk about entertainment legends, the three of them. Thank God. I'm just glad that's it. That's that little cycle finished. There's too much death and despair around. But John Mills' films live on, and that's one of the things that also makes you want to be in this racket. You're sort of guaranteed a certain immortality if your movies don't stink too bad.
Well, speaking of,
I remember that apartment.
You got a lot of grief for Grease too, of course, and it was a career.
Yeah.
But now it seems now it's like a cult favorite.
It is. I've made a couple of little cult favorites. Empire Records, in its own funny way, has got a bit of a cult following too. But you're only as good as your last picture, so it's very hard to, if you don't hit a home run, to make it to the starting roster. And so that's why I've always felt very fortunate to have the theater, not to fall back on, but to remind myself that I've still got chops and to make a living. But as I say, that's slightly in doubt right now, the theater. So
the theater's a lot harder. You find the theater harder than the films?
I tell you, the challenge is sustaining a performance. But it's also the fun of perfecting a performance too. You know what I mean? Because you do it 8 times in a week. So, you're going to try and be as consistent as you can be with the performance, particularly if it's comedy and you've got to nail those laughs, the laugh lines. It's and the touring is grinding. There's no question. Moving on your day off. But it's also very stimulating. And what I discovered quite late in the game was musicals. And they're the most fun to be had in show business.
Right. Well, Grease 2 was a musical. You sang in that.
Yeah, I did. I kind of sang in that. But I've done since then, I've done Chicago in the West End, that wonderful role, the Billy Flynn, the lawyer, big shot lawyer role. I played Henry Higgins in for God's sake,
My Fair Lady,
Pygmalion, the musical version of Pygmalion, and My Fair Lady. Thank you. No wonder I didn't get considered for the version in Lincoln Center recently. But anyway, but also, I've done La Cage aux Folles, and rather dubiously, Juliet says it's the best thing I've ever done. Flouncing around. I wasn't the guy in the dress. I was not the guy in the dress. But Georges and Albin. It's a beautiful, it's such a great, fun show that. And more recently, Guys and Dolls, playing Nathan Detroit on a big swing through the UK, and that was fantastic.
Do you have a favorite of all
what,
Chicago Odd Couple singing in the rain?
Yeah, well, Singing in the Rain. It's funny you should mention that. I was what got me started was doing Singing in the Rain, but I wasn't playing the. Obviously, I wasn't playing the lead. I wasn't dancing and tearing it up. But I was. I played the big studio chief and R.F. Simpson. So I just sort of walked around puffing a cigar in a fantastic custom-made suit, surrounded by beautiful chorus girls who were supposed to be my secretaries, all of them. For some reason, my character needed 8 secretaries. I had a gigantic. So it was not a painful role to play. Let's put it that way. And Chicago's even more fun. The chorus girls are wearing black lingerie, so it's even more painful, Jeff. Look, don't touch.
Hey, one of our Atlantic City lifeguards just chirped in right now, and he's wondering, are you swimming? I know you do your daily swim, but you're not Aaron Marinari.
He's asking me. It's right.
He wants to know, are you able to
I tell you what. Yeah, well, I tell you, I've got in the ocean, just been getting in recently. And it's warm enough to swim now without all the the rubber suits and caps and whatever. Getting a little sharky around here, but other than that, our swimming pool, the club is closed, so I'm kind of swimming in my sleep more often than I'd like to think, but the ocean's not that far away. And again, that's one of the great pluses of living in Southern California. And even though the beaches are technically restricted, as long as you're down there exercising, it's cool, but you just can't put on the blanket and, break out the hibachi.
When we say swimming, you swim for like an hour out in the ocean, right? You're out there for a while.
Yeah. If the water's not too cold. But Aaron's the swimmer. He's the ringer. He's the machine. And he's a particularly fine swimmer.
Yes, we were on the swim team together in high school. Me and Saul. Yeah, and we all got on the beach, and we were all lifeguards at the same time.
Wonderful. What was your stroke on the? Do you remember?
I was the sinker. I was a freestyle. I was mostly freestyle. I'd be in the relays and stuff. But I'm 6'4". I don't really, I'm not really that fast in the water. But I did all right. I was too much practice. My friend Robin Kramer wants to know who your acting heroes and role models are.
Well, I've already cited De Niro, of course, the great god of acting. Al Pacino just celebrated his 80th, and no actor I know can give an almost theater-sized performance on screen and get away with it. But the actors who I think are really of my generation, I think Daniel Day-Lewis really is. He claims he's retired. I would say Daniel Day-Lewis really is one of the foremost practitioners of the art. But I'm a big fan of. I think Johnny Depp is exceptional. I think DiCaprio. This isn't my generation now. These boys are 10 years younger than me. But I'm a huge fan of Sean Penn. All the obvious people to cite.
And how much? Well, obviously you were compared to Jimmy Dean so much. You looked so much like him when you were young. I mean, was that like a conscious decision that I'm going to be as cool as Jimmy Dean?
Yeah, he was a hero. Still is, actually. Still is. I remember when I was older than he was when he died, and I thought, damn. I mean, not that I had a death wish or anything, but I suddenly thought, oh wow, this is. You can't just burst on the scene. You've got to have a second act and hopefully a third. And actually, there's 5 acts in Hamlet, so hopefully I'm only done with. I've still got a couple of solid acts left in me, but I appreciate that question. Thank you, Adam.
Well, we are reinventing ourselves in this day and age. I mean, I'm doing it. I mean, we all have to figure out some kind of new paradigm now. You know, do you have anything?
Yeah, you're right. It is. Yeah, being entrepreneurial is absolutely key. Otherwise, you can't be. I mean, I've spent my life thumbing a lift on the side of the road as an actor, and I can tell you, it gets old. But it does prepare. One is out of work more often than one is actually employed, so it does sort of condition you a little bit for what we're going through now. I love that expression. I was reading a biography on another, really the consummate film performer is Cary Grant, and there was a book I've just finished reading on him, and Cary, because he could do it all, apart from having those looks, of course. And he said he called it being at leisure. I always heard of it as being a resting actor. You're resting. Okay, yeah, I'm resting. But to be at leisure, but that only goes so far. I mean, our accountant said to me, it exasperated on Thursdays. We were like shuffling the shells around. He goes. I mean, what was the fun? He goes, what could settle all of this? He goes. I said, what? Please, Jake, tell me. He goes, get a job. I mean, I'm glad we're doing this now, not a month from now, when literally I'd be pulling my hair out if it goes on much longer. But I wish, obviously, everybody out there just the best luck going forward. Common sense is the key to this, and just don't get drawn into arguments with people who are, defying the social norms, because there are going to be people who are going to feel it's their right. It's an American right, God given, to act, be your own boss. But we've got the sense of a community spirit is one of the keys here, and that's why we also have to come up with a new leader, because this it can't go on. I mean, literally, it'll finish us all. I mean, I remember Biden saying early on in his own campaign, it will 4 more years of him will fundamentally change this country. Well, the pandemic has changed it.
Oh, yeah.
And actually it's brought forward a kind of a revolution. There was a big letter written at the, how about Juliette Binoche, beautiful actress, got hold of her close pals, including De Niro and Joaquin Phoenix and some other scientists and key leaders, and they all signed a letter saying, when we come out of this, the world cannot go back to the way it was, because you know how we were feeling about all these homeless people. You couldn't get off an off-ramp on an LA freeway without seeing some kind of encampment. I mean,
Maxwell, it's still bad now. The Veterans Center, they have people. They open up the parking lot at the vet center, and they have tents every other parking spot that they set up for people to live in, so that people have a place to live. So now in Brentwood, California, it's one of the most expensive real estate in the world. They have a homeless encampment. So everything's changing, and you're right. It's not going to be the same, but I hope that we get into a world where we value our healthcare professionals and our teachers and the people that make our world work, instead of putting so much attention on sports stars and musicians and actors and everybody else, focusing on what the people that make our world continue to stay healthy and progress are doing. And I think that's part of the problem too. We got so obsessed with this whole thing about celebrity and this whole world. We got so distracted from what was important by creating a distraction. And I said this on one of my shows earlier, that I kind of feel guilty of it from my old job as a photographer, just creating bullshit for people to look at in magazines to take their mind away from the important shit, when we shouldn't be focusing on what's important in life and not what these two actors having a drink in some bar in West Hollywood are doing. I just want to focus. I want to change all of our focus to what's important and get out of this celebrity culture that we've gotten so obsessed with Instagram influencers and all the rest of it. We're so diluted and polluted, and we need to strengthen up and get together and all get on the same page and realize that our health and our well-being and our mental well-being is the easiest thing. And I know at 8 weeks, it's not easy for everybody to stay locked up. But if you got 2 more weeks to wait, you've waited 8, wait 2 more weeks to get your roots done and your nails. Let's see if everybody else gets sick out there. And then you can go out. They're your test.
Yeah, those folks in the South, and they want to take take the hit for us all, or at least be the test rabbits. Then so be it. I do wish them well, but if the scientists are to be believed, and one really should cede to them their knowledge at this point. Then unfortunately it's going to have repercussions, and it's just, as you say, it's just not worth getting your nails done or your roots taken care of, or some big slam dunk breakfast with everybody all piled around, and somebody from from out of state joins you, and unbeknownst to you, they've got it, and they give it to 3 people around that table, who turn around and give it to 3 more, and blah blah blah. But it's just weird. Everything is done through the prism of this dire situation. I just hope that this time next year, Jeff, that we've obviously come up with some kind of, and I know vaccine. Nobody's rushing to get a needle stuck in their arm, and not being quite sure what it is we're being injected with. But we can't go on like this. Obviously, people are going to crack up.
Listen,
Howard Stern and Piers have even turned on the Trumpster now, and guys who just his pals.
Look at the Lincoln Project. The Lincoln Project with George Conway and Rick Wilson and all these Republicans. It was crazy.
Explain that marriage to me. The Conway marriage is one of the great mysteries of our time.
We could spend an hour on that. But you know what? It's
we've had a great hour
one day. Yep. One day we'll get the answers, Max. One day. I hope I'm alive to see it. Maxwell Caufield.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate your time, your love, your friendship. Decades together.
Thanks.
And I can't wait till we're face to face. And I get to see Juliet and you and give you a big hug, and Sean and Deb and Melissa. Yeah. I love all you guys. You're my family, my West Coast family. And thank you so much for coming on today.
All right, Papa Bear. We'll see you soon. I hope so. Take care, Jeff.
Love to the wife. Say hi to Juliet.
Thank you.
All right.
Absolutely. Thank you.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Maxwell Caufield, legend. What a career. What a great guy. What a big heart. You can hear it beating. You can hear what it's saying. And you should follow him on Twitter, because he is preaching it. He's letting everybody know how to keep it going. Folks, some news. You want to hear about the guests? You want to hear about what else we're doing this week? Tomorrow, Mickey Avalon. My dick, like King Kong. Your dick is just that long. He's going to be on the show tomorrow. It's an old friend of mine. Another old friend, Brad Melshanker, new friend, 710 Oils. Also, you got a 2-for-1 Tuesday. Wednesday, big, gigantic. Boom! We're going to go big and gigantic. And Hillary Gleason, who's also good friends with Big Gigantic, she's going to come in towards the end and talk about backline and mental health. It's Mental Health Awareness Month here. So we want to keep everybody's brains in the game. And then Thursday, we have Kate Quigley coming in. She's a really funny comedian. Date fails. Check out Kate if you want to laugh. And Friday, mystery guest, still working on it. Next Monday, already booked Andy Frasco. So, I already am looking at next week. Everybody take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Here's the hug. Peace, love, happiness. We will see you all tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, Max, Juliet. Love the Alquists, Nakatolas, everybody out there. I love you guys. We'll see you soon. Take care.